This might just be the best flat Earth proof yet. Have you ever really thought about satellites? We're told they're orbiting thousands of miles above us, delivering TV, radio, cell phone signals, basically making our entire modern world work. But here's something that doesn't quite add up. If we already have ground towers all over the world handling communication signals and GPS is land-based, do we really need satellites? Let's take a closer look at this. Satellites are supposedly responsible for GPS, Google Earth images, and all sorts of data transmission. But most GPS systems rely on ground-based towers. And Google Earth? A lot of that is captured by high-altitude planes and even street-level cars. Yeah, the ones with those funny cameras on top. So, if we've got ground infrastructure in place, why the need for satellites? Here's a fun fact you might not know. Satellites were first imagined by Arthur C. Clarke, a science fiction writer. Yep, that's right. The concept came straight from the mind of a sci-fi novelist. Clarke came up with the idea of geostationary satellites back in the 1940s. And just like that, within a decade, NASA claims to have launched the first one into space. From fiction to reality, almost overnight. From then on, we've been told that satellites are the backbone of all global communications, but wait, here's where things get a little sketchy. Have you ever wondered why we never hear about satellites getting hit by space debris? Space is full of asteroids, comets, and meteors constantly zooming around. You'd think with thousands of satellites supposedly orbiting Earth, we'd hear about collisions, outages, or even the occasional satellite going down, right? Especially during meteor showers like the Perseids, when countless meteors pass close to Earth. But nope, there are no stories about a satellite being knocked out of the sky by a meteor. No reports of outages because a piece of space debris smashed into one. Ever lose your TV signal because a meteor hit a satellite? Didn't think so. It's like satellites exist in this weird bubble where nothing ever touches them. If they're real, shouldn't we be hearing about this stuff all the time? Think about it. With all that junk floating around in space, how is it possible that none of these satellites ever gets hit? Here's another head-scratcher. If satellites are supposed to be so high up in space, why can't we see them with the naked eye? We can see the International Space Station sometimes, and it's just one object. But with thousands of satellites up there, shouldn't we be seeing them whizzing by all the time? Instead, it's radio silence, or rather, visual silence. The more you start questioning, the more things don't quite add up. So, what's the deal here? Could it be that satellites, as we've been told, aren't really up there at all? Is it possible that the global communications network we rely on is actually far more earthbound than we've been led to believe? It's definitely something to chew on, and this is just scratching the surface. If you found this interesting, stick around because there's a lot more where that came from. Dive into more of these mind-bending topics on the page.